I'm going to explain to you here how you can build large wealth for yourself and your family without it actually costing you too much money and without it impacting your lifestyle at all. I don't want you stopping drinking coffee or, having to take, the bus across town rather than take a cab. I want you to still live your lifestyle, live the best life you possibly can. But I also want to see you building wealth and expanding your family's wealth. Now, let's look at this example. What I'm talking about here is investing in real estate. So if we were to buy a house for, let's say, $500,000, now, a lot of people are going to say you can't buy a house for $500,000. Well, you can actually. You just can't buy it in major metropolitan cities in Australia like Sydney or Melbourne. But you can buy some places in Melbourne. You can buy in other locations for this kind of price. And the principles still work inside of Sydney and Melbourne if you want to spend a bit more money anyway. So the principles are, let's use that $500,000 example. You put down a deposit of $50,000 and then you borrow the remaining $450,000. Now, the interest on $450,000 is $13,500. You would also have costs like council rates, water rates. You'd have to pay a real estate agent to collect the rent. So let's say that all of those add up to $3,000. So you got the $13,500 in interest, $3,000 in other cost is $16,500. Now, if you're buying something for $500,000, it's going to rent for somewhere between $450 and $500 a week. I'm going to choose 500 because it just makes it easier for me to do the mental calculation. So if it rents for 500 a week, 52 weeks a year, you're going to collect $26,000 in rent, less the interest of $13,500, less the other expenses, while we say $3,000. So $25,000 minus $16,500 gives you $8,500 profit. So you're going to get $8,500 cash back to yourself while the tenant's paying off your property. Now, the good thing with this is if you buy the right property, and we'll help you get the right property, is you can also claim depreciation on the property. So if, for example, a $500,000 house, the depreciation is going to be somewhere between $10,000 and $15,000 a year on that kind of property. So that means you've got $8,500 income coming in, and you've got $10,000 to $15,000 in additional tax deductions. So that could mean $8,500 with another $10,000 in tax deductions gives you a tax loss of $1,500, or if you can get depreciation of $15,000, it's a tax loss of $6,500. Now, this is the last great lurk in the Australian tax system because you can offset that loss against your other income. And in a lot of other forms of income, like small businesses, you can't offset those types of losses against your other income. So this is the last greatest lurk. And I think it's unlikely to change. The Labor Party tried to change it in the last election and it cost them the election. This one single thing, when they started to try and tinker with this, they lost what was called the unlosable election. So we've got a situation here where you buy these properties, you're going to receive $8,500 cash, and you're going to also get a tax deduction, which could be as much as $6,500. So you're in this situation where now you're owning real estate, the tenant and the tax man are the ones paying it off, and you're living where you want to live. What we're looking at with our clients a lot is getting them into great properties so that those properties go up in value. So in 2 years, you may have saved a little bit more money, but it doesn't really matter if you do or not. Because once that property goes up in value a bit, what we will do is we will help you access the increase in value in that property and use it as a deposit on another property and just repeat the process. Now, properties in Australia generally go up in value. They double in value about every 7 years. So if you're holding a property worth $500,000 and you don't even pay 1 cent off the mortgage, just pay the interest, in 7 years, if it's worth $1 million and you've still got a $450,000 loan on it, you now have $550,000 equity in that particular property. Now imagine if you can replicate that across 3, 4, 5 or more properties. If you could do it across 4 properties, you would hold $2 million worth of real estate at the start, which would be worth $4 million at the end. and you would have over $1 million, you'd have over $2 million equity in those properties over that period of time. The point is that if you can buy and hold these things, never sell them, let them go up in value, borrow the increase in value out, and then keep investing in more properties. This is the way you can turn you and your family into very financially stable, if not very rich. We will be able to help you with this. If you've got any questions about how this works, or you want, some details on how those numbers actually work, I'm happy to help you with that. Just get in touch with me and I will help you with all of this. We have hundreds of clients currently going through this process, and we have helped many, many people build wealth in this fashion. You should be next.